Will the Bengals get it done in prime time under the Sunday night lights? Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com here at M&T Bank Stadium, where it's the calm before the storm. Haven't seen any players yet. Definitely walked by the Bengals locker room with, as I record this, about 5 hours until kickoff. And no sight of the players yet, but I'm sure they're getting ready to make their way here at M&T Bank Stadium. And what a huge game it is. Real quick, just so you know, to give you an idea of how early we were, the cheerleaders for the Ravens are warming up right now. And they have a ton of cheerleaders, men and women, and they were running and they did this lap. And there was a gentleman that was clearly last in the lap. And he yelled, "Wait for me, wait for me. Let me catch up." Now I know how Andrew Fox Miller felt in gym class. Oh, man, he's going to hate me for saying that. Let's dive into this matchup because the Bengals, they're 2-2. They're trying to get to 3-2. They're trying to make it 3 straight wins on the season, 3 straight wins over the Baltimore Ravens. And not having DJ Reader in this matchup is huge. And obviously they didn't have Reader last week against the Dolphins. They were able to overcome it then. But against a team like this Ravens team, who's going to be without Rashod Bateman, we'll see on Marcus Peters. He suffered that quad injury in practice on Thursday, was limited, then didn't practice Friday. We'll see if he can go. I assume he's going to go, but we'll see when actives and inactives come out. It'll be 90 minutes before kick, and we will post them at allbengals.com, and I'll tweet them out as well. But no Rashod Bateman, we know that. J.K. Dobbins is back. Scored a couple touchdowns last week. I think he's going to be heavily involved today. I think this is going to be about the Ravens' rushing attack. Can they make it a little easier on themselves by getting this ground game going, especially no DJ Reader? The Bengals' defense has been really good, okay? They've given up 4 touchdowns this season. 4. Meanwhile, the Ravens are scoring more than 4 touchdowns a game. They're averaging 29.8 points per contest, and this offense has had a lot of big plays. And a lot of those were through the air to Rashod Bateman. Devin Duvernay is going to step into that wide receiver 1 role. But to me, can the Bengals slow down this rushing attack for the Ravens? That's going to matter a ton. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is one of the most dynamic athletes and dynamic players in the NFL. And he doesn't just win with his legs. He's extending plays, pushing the ball downfield. He's done a lot of that so far this season. The Bengals have to find a way to keep him contained in the pocket. Make him be a pocket passer. Don't let him go off script. And it's much, much easier said than done. But if he goes off script and he gets outside the pocket and keep his eyes downfield and make a decision of, oh, I'm going to throw it 50 yards downfield because Devin Duvernay is open, or I'm going to run this, make a couple defenders miss, and go. And so whoever's spying on Lamar Jackson, that's going to be a huge, huge part of today's game. And look, this Bengals defense, this is their biggest challenge of the year. Up until week 4, it was like, none of these offenses are really that good. And then the Miami Dolphins offense, they were really good coming in, and then Tua got hurt, and it was kind of weird, and they held that team to just 15 points. Well, we're going to see now what they do against a Ravens offense that has been tough to stop. Even last week, they beat themselves a couple times, left some points on the board, but they got off to a quick lead at 20-3. Over the Bills. And so the thing that has kind of been talked about here in Baltimore, just being in the city for a couple of days, it's the blown leads. It's their inability to finish. So just know that that's something that the Ravens have talked about a lot coming into this game. On the flip side, is this the day that Joe Mixon gets going, averaging 2.7 yards a carry? I don't think it is. And maybe I'm dead wrong on that. Maybe the Bengals rushing attack does get going today. But to me, this is a Joe Burrow game, right? He threw for 416 yards at this stadium last year, threw for 525 against Baltimore late in the season at Paycor Stadium. They need a similar performance. Now, that doesn't mean go throw for 400, but they need him to play at that level. He might only throw for 350, but I think this is a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, big play, let's win through the passing game type of day, and it needs to be. And the Ravens aren't going to have Justin Houston. He's been ruled out. They signed Jason Pierre-Paul. Naturally, they're good. In the interior of their defensive line has been pretty solid this year. But from a pass rush standpoint, they've been searching a bit, and they like to dial up blitzes, and they like to go that route to get pressure. And so if Joe Burrow's seeing the field well, if he's reading the defense well, which I think he's gotten better the past couple of weeks of doing those things, his pocket presence has gotten better. We're still waiting on him to be the Joe that we remember and that we expect. And so what better night than tonight, primetime Sunday night, against the Baltimore Ravens. This is just such a huge swing game in the AFC North, because I think these are the two best teams in the division. We'll see what happens. The Bills are going to beat the Steelers. Not sure about the Browns-Chargers game yet, but regardless, you beat the Ravens here, and you give yourself such an edge going into what is a really winnable stretch here, right? You go to New Orleans next week. Who knows what happens with Jameis Winston? Could it be Andy Dalton again? After that, you get the Atlanta Falcons, and then you have the Browns. So after starting 0-2, this Bengals team could really jumpstart their season by starting 1-0 in October. And what better way to do it than against the team that a lot of people picked to win the division in the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to get a ton of post-game coverage, whether they win, whether they lose, whether it's a draw. You're going to hear from Joe Burrow here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. You're going to get Jamar Chase afterwards. You'll get other players depending on who does what. And so that's why you got to hit that subscribe button. You have to ring the bell and buckle up, because you're going to get coverage here that you're not getting anywhere else. And so let every Bengals fan you know about Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Stay up with us late on a Sunday night where we're going to be here grinding away, whether they win, whether they lose, whether they draw, with post-game reaction. Of course, we'll have a post-game stand-up right here at M&T Bank Stadium as well. So for Andrew Fox Miller, who is still trying to catch up, I'm James Rapien, signing off ahead of Sunday Night Football. It's Bengals, it's Ravens, right here at M&T Bank Stadium.